the thing is that no one ever did it like Charles. No one ever did it like Charles. His run, like the moment it started till he lost the belt, has been one of the most impressive runs, and how fast and consistent he was, with his performances. We all know he beat Ferguson, and then he goes on to beat Chandler, dominated performance. And then he goes on and beats, I believe, Dustin Poirier, chokes him out, and then he goes on and beats Gaethje. Like, that performance against Gaethje was, to me, one of the best performances ever. Because Gaethje's a wild boy, and he swings, and he's danger. And for Charles to look so composed and to eat those punches, and I believe he got knocked down twice in that fight. And I think one of them he faked it to bring Gaethje towards him. But those performances, and this was a span like of a year and a half. Like, we saw Charles fight almost every 3 to 4 months, and you were just like wowed by him. It wasn't until his Gaethje fight where he finally won me over. I was like, wow, this guy's really fucking good. And then obviously he had the Islam fight, which in my opinion, we saw Charles that we weren't used to seeing. Hey guys, welcome to the False Line Podcast here with episode 140. It's Tuesday for me. It'll be Wednesday for you guys. Like I mentioned last week, we're doing 1 week, 1 episode per week, and it's going to be Wednesdays for now just because it's more relevant for me. If you guys don't know, and I'm not going to speak about it too much, I will eventually, but it's just me for now. We got plans for the pod. I'll be moving out in about a month, a little bit over a month, and we got a new setup coming soon, and you guys are going to start seeing different faces and things like that. So the podcast is kind of like on a weird situation right now, but it's going to be back to normal, you could say. And it's going to be, whenever it comes back, it's going to be that format. Everything's going to be like that for a good 2 years, I like to think, unless for some reason Spotify or somebody hits us up, things will change. But hopefully, welcome 140, episode 140, and today we're going to talk about just UFC and the Champions League on Saturday. So it'll be a short podcast, short and sweet, and they're going to be like this for like I said till next month most likely, short and sweet pods. So we have I think it's UFC, let me see, did I write it down or no? I think it's UFC 289 though. So UFC 289, we have Amanda Nunes versus, I can't say her first name, Irene Aldana, I think. They'll be headlining. Then you got Charles Oliveira versus Dariush, which is going to be a fucking banger. That fight I know it got moved once. I want to say it got moved twice. Or I might be speaking about a different fight on the same card that got canceled. So not too many people excited for this fight. Or for this card. And I'm personally one of them. I'm sure they're going to be really good fights. UFC is always entertaining, but the names, when you got a pay-per-view event, there's always like a big name, and I think the last big pay-per-view event was the Izzy fight, and the UFC's kind of not have any, big pay-per-view events in the last few weeks. So it's good to finally get a new one and to see Amanda Nunes fight Irene Aldana, which we'll get into here in a second. So I'm happy we get to see that. And we got some upcoming cards that are going to be stacked. So the summer's going to be looking good for the UFC. So the content's going to be fire too. So let's get into it. I want to start off by talking about Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana, just because I'm really more excited about the Charles fight. So Amanda Nunes was supposed to fight Juliana Pena. That fight got canceled. I believe Juliana Pena broke her ribs, sparring or something like that, most likely. I think I would like to see Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes again, because I think she could. She did it once, so I know deep down inside she could do it again, and she knows that too, and we all know that as fans, it's possible, anything's possible, but she already did it. She proved she can do it, so she should be able to do it again. Now, on the other hand, we have a contender. We have someone who is trying to make a name for themselves, someone who is, you could say, Mexicans have good luck in the UFC. Not good luck, but they're doing really good right now. We got 3 champions. We got 2 undisputed, 1 interim champion. And we got 2 guys and we got 1 girl. And it'd be cool to have another another Mexican champion, and have 4 Mexican champions in the UFC. I mean, I could remember when Cain was the first Mexican, big Mexican, big name, whatever, right? And now you got Brandon Moreno, who really, was the first raised and born in Mexico champion. And then we got Yair, we got Yair Rodriguez, that, he became interim, and now he's going to fight Volk, and Volk is a big name. Volk is an undisputed champion, and it'll be hard for him to do that, but you never know. And then we had, I forgot the girl's name. I don't remember, but she beat Holly Holm. Very impressive, right? So now we have Aldana here, who's, I hope that pressure of those 3 champs doesn't get to her, because I don't want her to, and not anybody who fights, right? You don't let that pressure, don't want to meet expectations. Don't try and set standards. Don't try and I want to be a champion to be with these guys, because then they're going to say, oh, she fell short, Don't, I'm sure she knows this as a pro, but I don't want her to think about that too much. She's going to fight Amanda Nunes, and hopefully that's all on her mind. If she gets a dub, then, everything else is going to be, amazing and nice, but hopefully she gets the job done. My prediction is, if I had to put some money on it, I think Amanda Nunes takes it. Now, I'm going to be rooting for Aldana, because, she's Mexican, I'm Mexican, and, I got to support the motherland, you could say. So I really hope she can get it done. It's going to be really hard, too. So I'm really interested how she's going to come out and fight Amanda Nunes, because when you're fighting the GOAT, you got to have a game plan. Your game plan has to be solid. It has to be good, and you have to go in there in a mission. I don't know every fight, but when you fighting the GOAT in the girls, fighting, you got to be locked in every session, every training session, every day. So hopefully she can pull it off. I'm a little bit history about Aldana. Don't know too much, but I know she lost to Holly Holm, if I'm not mistaken, around 2 years ago, you could say. She got kind of just beat up, really. I remember watching that fight. I don't forget where I was at, if I was here or in Illinois, but I remember she got beat up. I was like, damn, just no shot, no, not even close. And she got TKO'd or submitted. I don't remember, but she lost, and the fight didn't finish. So, you had, Alex Grasso, she beat Holly Holm, and that was at a smaller weight class or a lighter weight class, and now she moved up. Don't know what the weight class is, but now that she moved up, who knows? Maybe she's more healthier, maybe she's stronger, maybe she's faster. Those things take into place depending on the weight cut and how much they have to cut and things like that. So it's going to be real difficult for her to win. Everybody knew she was kind of next in line for the Nunes fight, or whoever would have won right after the Pena fight, Pena and Nunes. So, she was, number 1 contender, or number 2, because I think Pena's number 1. So she has to come out there and be locked in, really, really locked in. And she has to upset the world. We had Pena did it. Leon Edwards has done it. Connor has done it. We've had a lot of people that it's doable. Pereira has done it. So it's possible, and especially in the sport of, UFC or mixed martial arts, it's doable. So I really hope she can get the job done. I see it very hard, and I know she's going to be major underdog on this fight. So I think if it goes a distance, I really do think Aldana could pull it off, but I don't think it goes past 2 rounds, if I'm being honest. So we'll see how it goes. I want to root for the Mexican. I want the Mexican to win. So I really hope she could do it. I know in the press conference, she said how is she going to beat her or something like that. And she just said, because I'm Mexican. And that shit gave me the chills, because I was like, damn, that's true. When you're Mexican, you're a believer. You believe you can do it. We have the saying, si se puede. So, and we got these Mexicans on top of the UFC right now. So we're doing good. I think so. So hopefully we'll see what happens. Nunes, on the other hand, watching, what is it called? Those vlogs or those videos on YouTube, on the UFC channel, you can kind of see, Amanda Nunes, you see, at least my first time seeing a part of her, her family, her kid. She's in Brazil now. I don't want to say she's, how do I say it? She's achieved a lot. She doesn't need to prove anything to anyone and the fans. I think the only thing she has to do before she, puts the gloves off, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon, is she just gets to beat Pena one more time, And I'm not saying she's going to run through Aldana, or I forgot to say her name already. But I think that's the only thing that's left in question. But even her last performance, she just showed how dominant she was against Pena. So, but what I was trying to say is that she's, getting more. I like wholesome. You can say, she wants to be with her family. She wants to be with her wife, and she wants to spend time with her kid. Like that, you can tell. Like she that makes her happy. So, hopefully, we still get to see a lot of her and domination, because you can kind of see that the end is slowly creeping up, because I think she wants to go off to the sunset and be happy and coach maybe and be part but not compete so much, and that's good for her, but it sucks as a fan, because like, man, she's a beast, and she's done a lot in the sport, and so kudos to her. But I think we're starting to see the start of the end for Nunes, because I think if she wins this, she fights Pena. After that, I believe that her wife is pregnant, so they'll be having 2 kids now. I know there's fighters that have families and things like that, but you can kind of see that Nunes wants to be a family person. So I don't think we have much left of her, to be honest with you. I think, like I said, the end is near, and I just hope she does get to go off the sunset, as a double champ and as a GOAT for the women UFC, and she does her thing. But Saturday's a big fight, and I just hope there's a good performance and a good fight. I hope that's what we get, and we will. So there's no doubt about it. So on to the next fight. We have Charles de Bronx Oliveira versus I don't know how to say his first name, but we got Dariush. And a lot of people talk about Dariush, how he's underrated, how he doesn't get the respect he deserves, X, Y, and Z, right? So we all know who Charles is and what he's done in the UFC, and he took everybody by storm and just dominated everyone that was put in front of him and just put on these performances. And it was insane, right? In my opinion, we had, besides Khabib, I give Khabib some credit, but I just don't like that, as a fan at least, how he left. I think that I would have loved to see him, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I would have loved to see him and Conor running back again. I would have loved to see him fight someone like Charles Oliveira. And I know there's not many people that was left for him to fight. But I also never was a fan of Khabib, if I'm being honest. I never really liked his style. I never was a fan. I know, like, he's really good. He's a really good wrestler. But in my opinion, he just never, I don't know, like, maybe you could say, like, just on the standing up, just, I was never like, wow, like, this guy's a performer, and this, I was never wild by him. But don't get me wrong, he's going to go down as one of the best, and he dominated a lot of people, and pure dominance, right? But the thing is that no one ever did it like Charles. No one ever did it like Charles. His run, like the moment it started till he lost the belt, has been one of the most impressive runs, and how fast and consistent he was, with his performances. We all know he beat Ferguson, and then he goes on to beat Chandler, dominated performance. And then he goes on and beats, I believe, Dustin Poirier, chokes him out, and then he goes on and beats Gaethje. Like, that performance against Gaethje was, to me, one of the best performances ever. Because Gaethje's a wild boy, and he swings, and he's danger. And for Charles to look so composed and to eat those punches, and I believe he got knocked down twice in that fight. And I think one of them he faked it to bring Gaethje towards him. But those performances, and this was a span like of a year and a half. Like, we saw Charles fight almost every 3 to 4 months, and you were just like wowed by him. It wasn't until his Gaethje fight where he finally won me over. I was like, wow, this guy's really fucking good. And then obviously he had the Islam fight, which in my opinion, we saw Charles that we weren't used to seeing. It seemed like we saw a Charles that, like, that was the old Charles. Kind of just, you can say not that he quit, but he kind of folded under pressure. I don't know what happened, right? Maybe he was tired. Maybe his body was just, out of it. I don't know what happened, but it just didn't work out for him. And then it's crazy how there was no rematch involved, but, That's because of the Volk and the Islam fight. Whatever, right? And then, Islam goes and gets fucking manhandled by Volkanovski. And I don't care what people got to say, but Volk won that fight and he fucking dominated Volkanovski. And there was no doubt, in my opinion, that he won, right? Volk looked fucking nice at the end of the fight, Islam did not. So that's not the only reason why I say Volk won. But it's one of the things, like, man, just look at the end of the fight and just see, who went through it and who didn't. In my opinion, Islam didn't do enough. Volk won that fight. And that's why I don't think Islam's that good. I think I don't know who he's beat besides Charles Oliveira. And Islam has not fought a Dustin Poirier. He has not fought a Justin Gaethje. Has not fought a Chandler. Has not fought a Ferguson. So he beat one guy, and this one guy beat the top 5 guys. So that's why Charles, in my opinion, is better. And he's going to go, I really hope that he beats Dariush, and then he goes and beats Islam. And then, in my opinion, he's going to go down as one of the best lightweights in the world, like ever in history. Because, like I said, if he pulls off this run, he loses, he comes back and beats Dariush, which Dariush is a top contender. People have been talking about this guy for, about a year and a half now, that Dariush this, Dariush that. Nobody gives him a chance. No one's calling him out. Nobody wants to fight him. He's a boogeyman. X, Y, and Z, right? So you got Dariush, who I don't know too much about. I really don't. I'm being honest. And you can call me casual, whatever. I don't care, right? But I've seen his fights, and I know this guy is very, very, very good. But he hasn't fought top guys. That's the thing. And that's the thing with me, right? As a fan, I'm like, I want to see what you look like against a Poirier. I want to see what you look I want to see what you look against a Gaethje. I want to know what you look like against a Ferguson. What do you look like against a Chandler? Those things. Like, how do you look against these guys? Because if you put up someone like not mediocre, because none of these guys are mediocre, but 5 through 10 ranked guy, they're not as intimidating. There's something that these top 5 guys have that the 5 through 10 guys don't, and that's why they're top 5. And those guys are dangerous, and they're mean, and they're nasty, and when you get in there with them, I'm sure it's different. And to me, that's why I don't know how Dariush is gonna perform or be able to, to handle someone like Charles Oliveira, because Charles Oliveira got bodies, and he has not won a fight in decision. And I'm gonna let you guys think, let that shit sink in. He has won every fight through a finish, whether it's a sub or a TKO. All through his championship run, none of them went to decision, and he lost. He got tapped. But when he won the belt, when he beat Ferguson, he tapped him out. And then the last guy he beat was Gaethje. I believe I think he choked him out too. This he finishes people. I don't know when's the last time he's been on a decision. Dariush, on the other hand, he's had some decisions and he has some really nice finishes. Again, don't know too much, but that's what I do know. And that's why I don't think Dariush is going to be able to handle someone like Charles Oliveira. Because, again, Charles Oliveira is a finisher, and he's been through these bodies. On the other side, you got Dariush, which is, older guy. Again, this is his last. If he doesn't win this fight, he's not going to get another shot at the title. He's getting a little bit older now, and you can tell that he loves his family. You can really tell. And that's another thing why I don't think he's going to win this fight. And a lot of people are going to be like, what the fuck? But you could tell he loves his family. He says he can't be without them, and he needs them there in the training session and things like that, right? I think, and again, everyone's different, but this is just my opinion. I think it's a real there's a danger in a man when he wants to be alone to get prepared for a fight. He wants to be in a very dark place. He wants to go to places where he doesn't ever want to feel or experience again. But for this camp, he needs to go there because the moment that bell rings, it's live or die for them, And we know this for the fighters. Fighters go into the mountains, they go disappear, they do whatever. So You got a Dariush, wholesome family guy. He loves his family, his wife and his kid, you know. And I don't think he has that not dark, but that scary, vicious, like, I'm going to beat you up or I'm going to finish you. And I don't think that, and I think that's why he's not going to be able to come on top, and that happens, right? We know with Conor got a little soft too, made some money, got his family. I don't really need to do this shit no more. And that happens. We see a lot of people get paid. They start having kids, athletes, and they're just not the same anymore. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with Dariush, but it's my opinion. So, but that fight's going to be exciting, man. It's going to be fireworks. Very technical fight. It could be a championship fight, if we're being honest. So, I really hope Charles gets the dub. I really hope he pulls it off because I want to see him just like be champion again because his story is crazy. And it'd just be so dope, if Charles Oliveira goes and beats Dariush, then he goes fucking beat Islam Makhachev, then he fucking calls out Volk, beats Volk, then he says, Conor, give me some fucking money, let's fucking fight, beats fucking Conor, then he retires. That would be dope. It's tough, but that would be fucking dope. It would be so cool. And just to see him fight Volk would be insane. I think Volk after Yair, he needs to fucking move up, man. That's just my opinion too, though. So that's the UFC 289. I know we got a lot more names on that fight card in the prelims, but again, I'm not going to speak about it. Don't know too much. I'll be watching the fights, and I'll be excited for them. So let's get into the other big thing that's going on Saturday. We got the Champions League final. We got Manchester City against Inter Milan. I really hope City wins. And I only say that because City fumbles the bag every time when they're so close for the Champions League final. Every time. They fucking choke. And they always have a good-ass team. And it's like, bro, how do you choke? Right now, they got Haaland. They got a fired-up KDB. And, I mean, everyone else goes hard, but those guys just stand out to me. Grealish is playing good. Gundogan is playing like a fucking animal. You got Ruben Diaz back and healthy. I'm not sure who the other center. Oh, it's Akanji, I think. But still, you got Laporte. And who's the other? It's Stones. You got those two guys. And then you got a healthy Kyle Walker. I forgot who's the left back. Damn. It might be Laporte or Stones. But, you have a good, healthy team. You just got done winning the league. You just won the FA Cup over the weekend. Got a few days to rest and get prepared for Inter Milan. And you have Pep has everything he needs. City has everything they need. These players got everything they need to get the fucking dub and get the job done. And we all want to see it happen. They almost pulled it off, but they haven't, right? And they've been so close for so many years, and I really think this is the year. And everyone thinks the same. Part of that has to do with the opponent, which is Inter Milan. Inter Milan dominated AC Milan in the first leg in the semifinals and kind of cruised the second leg because they could have, but Inter Milan is good. I'm not sure how they finished in Serie A. I know Napoli won that. Inter Milan, I want to say this respectfully. I'm not sure how they got there, but it's interesting how they got there, And I really thought AC Milan was going to be the one in the final, but those two goals, I think, like that locked them into the final. They have a good Lautaro, and that's the only fucking player I know, bro. I don't fucking know. I don't know who they got. Like, I'm being honest. I'm sure they're going to come out there balling. This is what I love about, sports in general, especially like team sports, that, on this day, they know they're playing in the final and they can ball out. Because at one point, like, skill can only take you so much in football or soccer, right? Same thing with American football and hockey and basketball. Like, there's a peak of levelness, right? Now, there's creativity and things like that, but there's something within the team and within the players that they got to dig in deep and, like, keep running, keep defending, keep shooting, keep shouting, keep pressuring. Like, that's all. They already know all this stuff, right? But to keep it up the whole 90 minutes of that game, it's going to be very intense. And the Champions League is just up for grabs. And this happened, and I'll just say this because I'm a Chivas fan, but, Chivas Tigres didn't care to play the first leg. They didn't. And then Tigres knew that on Sunday night, doesn't matter the place, doesn't matter the time, doesn't matter anything, but we're going to fucking ball the fuck out. They were losing 2-0. Balled out. And they balled out, and they came back and won in overtime. That's the beauty of fucking team sports. That team dug in, didn't fold, and to keep going and just be hopeful the whole game. And these guys are going to start 0-0 on Saturday around noon, and they're going to be hopeful, and they're going to give it all they fucking got. All they got. And, honestly, this is going to be who gives up first. Who's going to give in? Who's going to make the mistakes? And the team that makes the most mistakes is going to fucking lose. So, we'll see. City doesn't make many mistakes, but we've seen them fold in the past. But they're a different team now, so we'll see. We'll see. I think City takes it. I think they come with the win, and I think they get the trouble this year. So, if they do, awesome. Shout out to Pep, the best coach in the world. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, but Pep is the best coach in the world. He's won 3 fucking La Ligas. Well, not 3. He's won... What the fuck he's won 3? He's won a treble with Barcelona, a treble with Bayern, and now he's going to win the fucking treble with City. So, kudos to Pep Guardiola. Do I have any announcements? No, that's it. Peace.